Ultra-processed meals, sugary snacks, and ready meals leave people tired, bloated, and underfueled because they disrupt digestion, spike blood sugar, and starve gut bacteria. Sadly, the UK food system is full of foods like these. They look healthy, but often do the opposite inside the body. The confusing part now isn't knowing what to avoid, it's knowing what to eat instead. A small number of brands are quietly doing things right, using real fibre, fermentation, and proper fats that the body actually recognises. These foods improve digestion, steady energy levels, and support brain function by working with the gut, not against it. I've narrowed it down to 12 UK brands you can realistically eat every day to support long-term health. And the number one brand matters most because it shapes your digestion, energy, and appetite across the entire day. 12. Montezuma's. Montezuma's is a UK chocolate brand known for producing high cocoa dark chocolate, often with significantly less sugar than standard supermarket bars. Unlike most chocolate products, it focuses on cocoa content first, which is what determines whether chocolate supports the body or works against it. High cocoa dark chocolate is rich in natural compounds called polyphenols. These compounds support blood flow to the brain, reduce inflammation, and help protect cells from oxidative stress. When consumed in small, regular amounts, this can translate into better mental clarity, steadier energy, and improved circulation. The difference between this and most chocolate on the shelf comes down to formulation. Many popular brands rely on sugar, milk solids, and processing techniques that strip away the benefits of cocoa. That's why chocolate is often followed by cravings or energy crashes rather than anything positive. There's also a gut health effect that most people don't realize. Polyphenols act as a food source for specific gut bacteria that help regulate inflammation and metabolic health. Instead of irritating digestion, high-quality dark chocolate can support a healthier gut environment when used sensibly. This isn't about eating more chocolate or treating it like a health supplement. It's about replacing low-quality sweets with a version that supports the brain and gut instead of undermining them. Over time, small choices like this help stabilize appetite, reduce inflammation, and improve how the body responds to food. The next brand builds on this idea even further, but instead of a solid food, it's something people drink, and has an even more direct effect on gut bacteria. 11. Hip Hop. Hip Hop is a UK-made kombucha, which is a fermented tea drink created using live cultures. If you've never had kombucha before, it sits somewhere between a soft drink and a fermented food, but with a very different effect on the body compared to fizzy drinks or fruit juices. Because it's fermented, kombucha contains organic acids and beneficial compounds that support digestion rather than disrupt it. These acids help stimulate stomach acid production and improve how the gut breaks down food, which is one reason people often notice less bloating and better digestion when they replace sugary drinks with fermented ones. The problem with most drinks people consume daily is sugar. Even juices and natural drinks cause blood sugar spikes that are followed by energy crashes and cravings. Hip Hop is designed as a lower sugar alternative, which means it doesn't overload the system or work against gut bacteria in the same way. There's also a brain connection here. When digestion improves and blood sugar becomes more stable, mental clarity and energy levels tend to follow. Many people don't realize how strongly drinks influence focus and mood, especially when consumed throughout the day. This isn't about drinking kombucha all day or treating it like a miracle drink. It works best as a simple replacement, choosing it instead of fizzy drinks, energy drinks, or sweetened beverages that quietly sabotage gut health. What makes this important is consistency. A daily drink swap is one of the easiest changes to maintain, and over time it can noticeably reduce bloating, afternoon fatigue, and sugar cravings. The next brand takes fermentation even further, but this time in solid food form, and it plays a much bigger role in rebuilding gut bacteria. 10. Linwood's Health Foods. Linwood's is a UK brand best known for milled seed blends made from ingredients like flaxseed, chia, sunflower, and pumpkin seeds. These products are designed to be added easily to everyday foods such as porridge, yogurt, or smoothies, which makes them simple to use consistently. What makes these seeds important is their fibre content. Fibre is one of the most missing components in modern diets, yet it plays a central role in gut health. It feeds beneficial gut bacteria, supports regular digestion, and helps maintain a healthier gut lining. Without enough fibre, digestion slows, inflammation increases, and energy regulation becomes unstable. There's also a strong brain and body connection here. Seeds like flax and chia contain plant-based omega-3 fats, which support brain cell structure and help reduce low-grade inflammation throughout the body. While they're not a replacement for oily fish, they contribute to a more balanced intake of fats that many people lack. Another benefit is how these blends affect appetite and energy. When fibre and healthy fats are added to meals, blood sugar rises more slowly and stays steadier. This reduces energy crashes and helps people feel satisfied for longer, rather than reaching for snacks shortly after eating. The key advantage of Linwood's products is practicality. Instead of changing entire meals, you're strengthening the meals you already eat. Over time, this kind of small, repeatable addition can noticeably improve digestion, reduce bloating, and support more stable energy levels. But fibre only works if it's eaten consistently. So what happens when the most common breakfast food in the UK actually supports the gut instead of draining it? 9. Hamlin's of Scotland. Hamlin's of Scotland produces traditional Scottish oats, a staple food made by rolling or milling whole oat grains. Oats have been part of the UK diet for generations, but the way they're processed determines whether they support health or quietly work against it. Whole grain oats are rich in beta-glucan, a specific type of fibre that plays a major role in gut health. This fibre feeds beneficial gut bacteria and helps slow digestion, which leads to steadier blood sugar levels and longer-lasting energy. When people start the day with properly made oats, they're less likely to experience mid-morning crashes or constant hunger. There's also a strong brain connection. Stable blood sugar supports concentration, mood, and mental clarity, while fibre-driven gut health influences neurotransmitter production through the gut-brain axis. In simple terms, a breakfast that digests slowly helps the brain stay switched on for longer. The issue is that many oat-based products don't deliver these benefits. Instant oats, flavoured sachets, and oat cereals are often heavily processed and sweetened, which strips away the slow-release advantage and turns a good food into a fast-burning one. Hamlin's keeps things simple. Their oats are minimally processed and designed to be eaten as they are, allowing the fibre to do its job. Used consistently, this helps reduce energy swings, supports digestion, and creates a more stable foundation for the rest of the day's meals. What makes this important is reliability. When the food people eat most often actually supports their gut and energy. Instead of disrupting it, everything else becomes easier to manage. Now, oats are only effective if they're used in the right form, and the next brand shows how similar ingredients can have very different effects depending on how they're prepared and marketed. 8. Nairn's. Nairn's is a UK brand best known for oat-based products like oat cakes, biscuits, and simple breakfast options. At its core, it's still working with the same raw ingredient as traditional oats, but how those oats are used makes a noticeable difference to how the body responds. Oats themselves are valuable because of their fibre, particularly beta-glucan, which supports digestion, helps regulate blood sugar, and feeds beneficial gut bacteria. When oats are kept simple and not overloaded with sugar, they provide slow, steady energy and help people feel full for longer, rather than triggering cravings an hour later. Where Nairn stands out is in offering oat products that can replace common ultra-processed snacks. Many people don't struggle at main meals, they struggle between them. Biscuits, cereal bars, and snack foods are often where sugar intake quietly adds up and energy crashes begin. Using oat-based alternatives with simpler ingredient lists can reduce that cycle. There's also a brain and mood benefit tied to steadier energy. When blood sugar stays more balanced, concentration improves and irritability drops. This is one reason people often feel calmer and more focused when they're their snacks stop pushing their system up and down throughout the day. Of course, not every product in this category is equal. The benefit comes from choosing the simplest options and avoiding versions loaded with added sugars or unnecessary extras. Used properly, these oat-based foods work as a bridge between meals rather than a trigger for more hunger. This is less about perfection and more about pattern. When everyday snacks stop undermining digestion and energy, the body has space to recover instead of constantly compensating. And if oats help steady things between meals, the next brand focuses on a food that does something different entirely. It actively feeds the gut bacteria responsible for long-term digestive health. 7. Bold Bean Co. Bold Bean Co. is a UK brand focused on beans and legumes that are cooked and prepared to be both digestible and flavourful. If beans usually feel like a healthy food you should eat but don't enjoy, this brand exists to solve that exact problem. Beans are one of the most powerful foods for gut health because they combine fibre, plant protein, and complex carbohydrates in one place. The fibre feeds beneficial gut bacteria, while the slow-digesting carbs help keep blood sugar stable. Together, this supports digestion, steady energy, and a healthier gut environment over time. One reason many people avoid beans is discomfort. Poorly prepared or heavily processed legumes can cause bloating, which leads people to assume beans don't suit them. What matters is how they're cooked and portioned. When beans are prepared properly, they're far easier on digestion and much more effective as a daily food. There's also a strong link between legumes and inflammation control. Diets that regularly include beans are associated with better metabolic health and reduced low-grade inflammation, which affects everything from joint comfort to mental clarity. This is one of the reasons beans are common in dietary patterns linked to long-term health. From a practical perspective, beans help solve a common problem: meals that don't keep people full. Adding legumes increases satiety, which reduces constant snacking and helps appetite regulate naturally without calorie counting or restriction. What makes this kind of food powerful is repetition. Beans don't create a dramatic overnight effect, but when eaten regularly, they help rebuild gut balance and energy regulation from the inside out. Up to this point, we've talked about foods that stabilize digestion and energy. The next brand introduces something the body can't make on its own, and it plays a direct role in brain structure and inflammation control. 6. Fish Forever. Fish Forever is a UK brand known for responsibly sourced tinned fish, including sardines, mackerel, anchovies, and tuna. Tinned fish often gets overlooked, but nutritionally, it's one of the most efficient ways to support brain and body health with minimal effort. Oily fish provides omega-3 fatty acids, which the body cannot produce on its own. These fats are essential for brain cell structure, nervous system function, and inflammation control. When omega-3 intake is low, people often experience brain fog, low mood, joint stiffness, and slower recovery from stress. Regular consumption helps counter all of that. There's also a gut connection people don't always associate with fish. Omega-3s help maintain the integrity of the gut lining and reduce low-grade inflammation that interferes with digestion. When inflammation drops, nutrient absorption improves, which means the rest of your diet starts working better too. Another reason this matters is protein quality. Fish provides complete protein that's easier to digest than many processed meat products. That helps with muscle repair, satiety, and stable energy levels without putting extra strain on digestion. At this point in the video, if this breakdown is helping you understand why certain foods actually work, not just which ones to buy, take a second to like the video and subscribe. It tells the platform this kind of practical, evidence-based content is worth showing to more people, and it helps you catch the rest of the list as it comes out. What sets Fish Forever apart is consistency and sourcing. Many tinned fish products vary wildly in quality, oils used, and processing. Choosing a reliable option removes guesswork and makes it easier to include brain-supporting fats in meals without cooking or planning. This kind of food doesn't rely on trends or timing. It quietly supports brain health, inflammation control, and overall resilience when used regularly. So far, we've covered foods that stabilize energy, feed gut bacteria, and support the brain. Then the next brand takes us directly into foods that rebuild the gut environment itself, not through nutrients alone, but through live bacteria. 5. Loving Foods. Loving Foods is a UK brand that specialises in raw, unpasteurised fermented foods such as sauerkraut, kimchi, and kefir-style ferments. If you've never eaten fermented vegetables before, these are foods that have been naturally preserved through fermentation, allowing beneficial bacteria to develop and remain alive. Fermented foods matter because they directly introduce beneficial bacteria into the gut. Unlike fibre, which feeds bacteria already there, fermented foods help increase diversity in the gut microbiome itself. This is important because low bacterial diversity is linked to digestive issues, inflammation, and weakened immune and brain signalling. There's also a digestive efficiency effect. Fermentation partially breaks down food before you eat it, which makes nutrients easier to absorb and reduces the workload on the digestive system. Many people notice improvements in bloating, regularity, and overall gut comfort once fermented foods are added consistently. The brain connection comes through the gut-brain axis. Gut bacteria influence the production of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which affect mood, motivation, and focus. When gut balance improves, mental clarity and emotional stability often improve alongside it. What makes brands like Loving Foods useful is that they keep these products raw. Pasteurization, which is common in supermarket versions, kills the bacteria that make fermented foods beneficial in the first place. Choosing unpasteurized options is the difference between flavor and function. This isn't about eating large amounts or forcing fermented foods into every meal. Small, regular portions are enough to create change over time, especially when paired with fiber-rich foods already discussed earlier. Up to now, we've talked about foods that support gut health indirectly. The next brand goes even further by focusing almost entirely on fermented vegetables, but in a form many people find easier to use every day. 4. The Sauerkraut Company. The Sauerkraut Company is a UK brand focused specifically on fermented vegetables, most commonly sauerkraut and similar vegetable ferments. If fermented foods sound unfamiliar or intimidating, sauerkraut is one of the simplest places to start because it's made from just vegetables, salt, and thyme. What makes fermented vegetables powerful is that they work on the gut at a foundational level. During fermentation, natural bacteria break down the vegetables and create beneficial compounds, including organic acids and enzymes. When eaten regularly, these help increase gut bacteria diversity and improve how efficiently the digestive system works. There's also a strong anti-inflammatory effect. Fermented vegetables help calm irritation in the gut lining, which is important because chronic low-grade inflammation interferes with nutrient absorption and can contribute to fatigue, brain fog, and digestive discomfort. Supporting the gut lining allows the rest of the body to function more smoothly. Unlike many supermarket sauerkrauts, which are pasteurized and shelf-stable, properly fermented versions still contain live bacteria. That's the difference between a product that's simply acidic and one that actively supports the microbiome. Live cultures are what make these foods effective, not just their taste. Another benefit is how these foods influence appetite and digestion timing. Fermented vegetables can improve stomach acid production and digestive signaling, which helps meals break down properly and reduces that heavy, uncomfortable feeling after eating. This isn't a food you eat in large quantities. Small servings alongside meals are enough to gradually improve digestion and gut balance. Over time, this can translate into better energy, fewer digestive issues, and improved mental clarity. We've now covered foods that feed gut bacteria and foods that introduce them directly. The next brand combines both ideas into one everyday food that many people already eat without realizing how much difference the right version can make. 3. Yo Valley Organic. Yo Valley Organic is a well-known UK dairy brand, but what matters here isn't the name. It's which products you choose and how they're made. When dairy is produced properly and left relatively intact, it can support gut health rather than disrupt it. Live yogurt and fermented dairy contain beneficial bacteria that help maintain balance in the gut microbiome. These bacteria assist with digestion, support the gut lining, and play a role in immune and brain signaling. When people tolerate dairy well, fermented versions are often far easier to digest than milk or heavily processed alternatives. The issue with many dairy products on the market is processing. Flavored yogurts often contain added sugars and stabilizers that cancel out any benefit. When dairy becomes a dessert rather than a fermented food, it starts contributing to inflammation and blood sugar spikes instead of supporting digestion. Yo Valley's organic live yogurts keep things simpler. Fewer additives and the presence of live cultures mean the food does what it's meant to do: nourish gut bacteria and provide protein and fats that digest slowly and steadily. This helps people feel satisfied after eating instead of reaching for snacks shortly afterward. There's also a brain connection tied to protein and fat quality. Stable digestion and steady blood sugar support focus and mood, while fermented dairy helps regulate gut bacteria involved in neurotransmitter production. For people who include dairy in their diet, choosing the right version makes a measurable difference over time. This isn't about increasing dairy intake across the board. It's about replacing sweetened or ultra-processed options with fermented ones that actually serve a purpose. When done consistently, digestion becomes smoother and energy levels more predictable. Up next is a food that takes fermentation one step further. Instead of just supporting gut bacteria, it introduces a much broader range of them, and it's one of the most powerful everyday foods available in UK supermarkets. 2. Biotiful Gut Health. Biotiful Gut Health is a UK brand best known for kefir, a fermented milk drink made using multiple strains of beneficial bacteria. If yogurt introduces helpful bacteria, kefir goes further by delivering a much wider variety of live cultures in a form that's easy to consume daily. Kefir matters because bacterial diversity is one of the strongest indicators of gut health. The more diverse the microbiome, the better the gut can regulate digestion, inflammation, and immune responses. Many modern diets reduce this diversity over time, which is why fermented foods like kefir can have such a noticeable effect. People often report improved digestion within weeks of adding kefir regularly. That's because the fermentation process breaks down lactose and proteins, making it easier to digest while delivering bacteria that help strengthen the gut lining. This can reduce bloating, discomfort, and irregular digestion. There's also a strong brain connection. The gut plays a direct role in producing and regulating neurotransmitters involved in mood, focus, and stress response. When the gut environment improves, mental clarity and emotional balance often improve alongside it. This is why foods like kefir are increasingly linked to both digestive and mental well-being. Biotiful products are designed to be practical rather than extreme. They're available in supermarkets, easy to include with breakfast or as a snack, and don't require major dietary changes. That consistency is what allows benefits to build over time. What makes kefir especially useful is that it works both directly and indirectly. It adds beneficial bacteria while also creating an environment where existing gut microbes can thrive. This combination is why it often has a stronger effect than standard probiotic foods. At this point, we've covered foods that support the gut and brain individually. The next brand takes a different approach altogether. It doesn't focus on one product, but on changing the variety and quality of food people eat across the entire week. 1. Riverford Organic Farmers. Riverford Organic Farmers is a UK-based brand that delivers organic fruit, vegetables, and whole foods directly to households. Rather than focusing on a single product, it changes the overall quality and variety of food people eat on a regular basis, which is why it has such a strong long-term impact on health. The most important factor in gut health isn't one superfood, it's diversity. Different plants feed different strains of gut bacteria, and the more varied your diet is, the stronger and more resilient your microbiome becomes. Diets lacking in plant diversity are linked to inflammation, digestive issues, low energy, and poor metabolic health. Riverford's approach naturally increases that diversity. By rotating seasonal vegetables and encouraging people to cook with a wider range of plants, it helps rebuild gut bacteria over time. This improves digestion, nutrient absorption, and the gut-brain signaling that influences mood, focus, and stress resilience. There's also a behavioral shift that makes this powerful. When people have high-quality ingredients at home, eating patterns change. Meals become simpler, less reliant on ultra-processed foods, and more aligned with how the body actually functions. This reduces blood sugar swings, improves energy consistency, and supports better appetite regulation throughout the day. Organic production matters here as well. Lower pesticide exposure and healthier soil practices are associated with higher nutrient density in plant foods. While this isn't about perfection, reducing chemical load where possible supports the gut environment rather than adding another source of stress for the body to manage. What makes this different from every other brand on the list is scope. Instead of improving one habit or one meal, it reshapes how people eat across an entire week. That's why the effects tend to compound faster and feel more sustainable. When the base of the diet changes, everything built on top of it works better. Digestion, energy, brain function, and overall health all start moving in the same direction. What all of these foods have in common isn't a trend, a label, or a claim on the front of a packet. It's that they work with the body instead of constantly forcing it to compensate. When digestion improves, energy steadies. When the gut is supported, the brain follows. And when the foundation of the diet changes, the smaller details stop feeling so hard to manage. None of these brands are about perfection. You don't need to eat them all at once, and you don't need to overhaul your life overnight. The real shift happens when a few everyday choices stop draining your system and start supporting it consistently. That's when bloating eases, focus improves, and food begins to feel stabilizing rather than exhausting. If there's one takeaway from this list, it's this. Health isn't built on restriction, fear, or extremes. It's built on repetition. The foods you come back to day after day matter far more than the occasional good or bad meal. Start with one change. Swap one product. Add one food that supports your gut instead of undermining it. Over time, those small decisions stack up in ways you can actually feel. If this video helped you understand why certain foods work, not just what to buy, take a moment to like the video. It really helps more people see this kind of practical, evidence-based content. And if you want more breakdowns like this, focused on real food, real habits, and real results, make sure you subscribe. New videos are coming that dig deeper into how everyday choices shape long-term health. Thanks for watching, and take care of what you eat because it's shaping far more than just your next meal.